Welcome and hello. This is a video tutorial on HEC ResSim, and in this lesson I'm going to be discussing Reservoir System Editor. The Reservoir System Editor in ResSim is used to define the system storage zone and to define the distribution of storage across the individual reservoirs within that zone. In lesson 36, the last lesson, which is entitled Reservoir Storage Balance, I describe the difference between implicit and explicit system storage balance. Implicit is ResSim's default behavior, but it may not be what you want. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you how the user can explicitly define system storage balance. What I have here on the screen is the reservoir network with 3 reservoirs in parallel, all serving a downstream junction CP15. Up top, I'm on module reservoir network, so make sure that's selected. And then before we get started with the reservoir system editor, I just want to show you a few of the properties in these 3 reservoirs. All 3 reservoirs have a total capacity of 50,000 acre-feet. If I right click, edit reservoir properties, and then click on the physical tab, and then the pool, we see that total volume at 50,000 acre-feet. Back to the operations tab, I've created an operations set called operation set 1 with 3 zones, and they have a downstream flow control rule assigned for CP15, which we can identify on the map is this downstream most junction with the blue square around it. So again, we have reservoirs A, B, and C. They all have the same geometry and the same 50,000 acre-feet of total capacity. Let's go ahead with the reservoir system editor and bring that up by clicking edit and then reservoir systems. This is our dialog box for the reservoir system editor. And what we have on menu options across the top is reservoir system, edit, system balance, and system zones. Let's start by creating our reservoir system by clicking reservoir system, new system, and then let's go ahead and type in a new system name, which will be reservoir system 1 works. Okay, and that shows up in our reservoir system dropdown. We can create more systems if we want, but one's good for now. Here's the description. We could type that in. The next step is to assign reservoirs in our network to that reservoir system. So we do that by clicking edit and then edit reservoir system because we already have the system 1 ready to receive those reservoirs. Here we have reservoir A, B, and C. What you do is you just select it from the available list of reservoirs and then click add, and then it gets moved over to this selected column. So we can just add all and then click OK and then apply. All right, so all 3 reservoirs, A, B, and C, are now part of a reservoir system 1. The next step is to click on System Balance and then New. All right, what we have here is our System Balance dialog, and we're going to go ahead and give it a name. Okay, System Storage Balance 1 is a good name, I guess. And then we can add a description if we want. And then down below here, we need to identify the operation set for each reservoir. Now, earlier in the video, I showed you that we already have an operation set 1 is defined for each of the 3 reservoirs. So we'll just go with that and then click OK. All right, the last menu item is system zones. So we have to go ahead and add a system zone here. Let's just call it system flood. Okay. And we could add multiple zones. I could add another zone that says system conservation. Okay. So over on the left panel, we have the zone that we're editing, system flood, system conservation, whichever zones you select. Over on the left is what we're going to be editing in the main panel here. The last step we need to define balance explicitly for this reservoir system is in this table down below. What you see here is 100% storage in all 3 reservoirs. And what we can do is add rows to define what is considered a balance across those 3 reservoirs based on the percent of storage. So if we go down to, say, the very bottom, we could just add zeros, which means if all 3 reservoirs have 0 storage, that's considered balanced. The top row says if all three reservoirs are completely full, that's also considered balanced. Now, in the previous lesson, I walked through a scenario where Reservoir A has 20,000 acre feet of volume. Reservoir B has 30,000 acre feet of volume. Reservoir C has 40,000 feet of acre volume. So if all three reservoirs have a total capacity of 50,000 acre feet, then that balance would be 40%, 60%, and 80%. So what I've defined on this row here is 40, 60, and 80% of total storage of the reservoirs is considered balance. And any linear combination from 0 to 40%, 0 to 60%, and 0 to 80% on that line, as long as those reservoirs fill up on that line, then it would also be considered in balance. Now take some weird situation where, for instance, if we had additional 30,000 acre feet added to these three reservoirs, this system, if we wanted to, for some reason, add all of that volume to reservoir A, we could type in a 100 here and then keep reservoir B at 60% and reservoir C at 80%. That's kind of weird, but that's just how I'm defining what is balance as I explicitly do so. And after that, if we happen to have additional water we needed stored across these three reservoirs, maybe we wanted to assign it to reservoir B. So in that case, I'd stick with 100 here. I'd say 100% in storage B and then 80 again for reservoir C. So you can go ahead and change these numbers in these rows and then click apply, and that would define the system balance explicitly for this zone that I've created, system flood. So that's it for this video. This was an example of how the user can explicitly define system storage balance in ResSim.